Hello, everyone. Thank you for all that have stayed with us. Sorry we're a little bit late. Welcome to episode 45 of the Town Social. My name's Nick Barlow. Joining me tonight, as always, Ian Kilroy, Gaz K, here to dissect what's been another episode in the Huddersfield Town soap opera. Massive news today, obviously, from the Town website. It's Andy Oldsworth's birthday. Happy birthday, Andy. 40 years old, mate. No, obviously, it's after another 1-1 draw, frustrating draw at QPR. Big Kev's finally said no more, and Moore has got the boot. I think right decision, but we'll go into it. Lots to talk about. To be honest, I didn't go down to the QPR game. Gaz did, so we'll get his thoughts on it. Other than to say really, I just found it really frustrating as always. I thought we played better in patches. I thought we were aggressive, particularly in QPR's initial third. I thought we pressed them quite high. Sorba played really well, so got some great balls into the box. But ultimately, again, lads, I'm sure you're going to say we played a lot better, but 3 shots on target all game against that kind of opposition in that big a game. Nah, not for me. And in typical Town fashion, we get a late goal, one of the rarest of beasts, a Jack Radoni goal, and then only to fuck it up minutes later. Even though we had a warning shot that somehow even I could have scored it, put it over the bar, we still switched off. Ball into the back post, goes off his knee, a bit of fortune, goes in. But after what Kev said the week before, you can't. He couldn't stay after that, could he? Gaz, what are your thoughts, mate?
Well, it was a lovely day. I mean, the weather was lovely. We had a really nice walk down to the ground, and my lad was warm for it. He thought it was going to be a repeat of Watford last season. He was feeling the optimism, and actually, I think, and maybe it's a sign of how low our expectations have stooped. But actually, it was an okay performance. You know, in terms of where we have been and how we played, it was much better. Ian's going to wax lyrical about why a back four is better than a back five any minute now. I can feel it coming. But I do think that we looked better for it. We played 10 or 15 yards further up. We pressed them high, and they were pretty limited. You know, I think the fans after 10 or 15 minutes started to get a little bit irate. And the first half was pretty scrappy, Nick. I think the ref didn't help. You know, he was giving lots of little free kicks, lots of little fouls and niggles, which seemed to have been let to run in most games this season. But I thought we had decent control for the first time in a long time. It felt like we had control of the game. And yes, I thought Sorba caused them a few issues. But other than that sort of really good first corner we put in, we didn't really create too many chances. I think there was one where Radoni played in Brodie Spencer just behind a fullback to pull a ball back. They got a good shot away, but got a block. But other than that, that was it for the first half. They created nothing. They had a big lad up front, and their tactic clearly was to play off him, try and get Elias Chair on the ball further up the field, and they didn't really get much joy. Second half, I thought we played a bit better, a bit brighter. We certainly seemed to be moving the ball quicker, and I thought Sorba really did come into the game. And I thought he had a sort of 30-minute purple patch where he looked like the Sorba of old. I've seen a few complaints he was on the wrong side, which is probably true. But the right back was already booked, and Sorba had him on toast for 20 minutes. The lad didn't know what to do, and he put in some super crosses, some of them with his weak foot, with his left foot. But this is typical of Darren Moore, that we'd made these changes. When Sorba's pumping that ball into the box from 25 yard out, there's one player. It's Radulovic or it's Radoni or it's Healy. It's not 2, 3, or 4 bodies, and that was I thought that was summing the game up. And then Hallett limped off for it was a horrible tackle. It looked horrible from the other end. Obviously we couldn't see it clearly, but it looked pretty bad on the Sky replay when I watched it later. And when Hallett limped off, I said to Connor, I think this is a 0-0. It had it written all over. And then the goal had a stroke of luck about it. I think I don't know who took the shot. Somebody took a shot from the edge of the box. It was going an absolute mile wide, hit Radoni somehow, and he managed to just roll it into the corner of the net. And I thought, well, not even we can cop this up. Anyway, as usual, we managed to find a way to balls it up, didn't we? So I was really disappointed because I just with 5 minutes to go and then stoppage time, you've just got to be better than that. You've got to be, and I know people will roll their eyes, but you've got to be old manning. You've got to be going to the ground. You've got to take your time. You've got to play for set pieces. And we didn't do any of that. Really. There was only one guy got booked for time wasting, and that was young Brodie Spencer. The experienced blokes around him didn't seem that bothered. And you just felt it coming. They missed an absolute sitter a few minutes before they scored. Another free cross. I mean, I don't know how many times I've moaned about the ability of how much room other teams seem to get to cross a ball against us. But I think the biggest frustration for me was that as they won the set piece, which was the start of the play to score the goal, he was going to put Pearson on as a sub. And when they got the set piece, he dragged Pearson back and made him sit down. So, that was also slightly frustrating. Now, whether Pearson had made a difference or not, I don't really know. But it would have sent a signal, wouldn't it? And another big lad in the middle to try and deal with them crosses. So, and I have to be honest, I'm glad the game ended, because I thought after they scored, if the game had gone on another 5 or 10 minutes, they'd have won it. The fans were up, their tails were up. But yeah, I mean, as I say, I think it was an okay performance. And I do think if we'd have played like that against Blackburn and Plymouth, I actually think we'd have taken 4 or 6 points. I do honestly, I think we'd have taken more points than we did. But yeah, not enough to save him. After Kev bigged it up before the game, it was a must win. When it wasn't a win, there was nowhere for him to go, really, I don't think, after that.
It pissed me off, guys, that. I think you bang on. I think if we'd have gone the way we played QPR against Plymouth and game like last few games, I think we'd have been in such a better position. It showed you, to me anyway, that back four is so much better when it comes to being able to dominate a game. Like I said, it's the first time all season to me where we've controlled it. And it is a big thing, because beginning of the season, even under Warnock, we didn't really control games. We couldn't really do it. We've gone out in January, spent a little bit. I'm certain now we can. And the goal we got actually came from having that extra man in midfield. It was Bolker, I think, that had the shot, and it went to Radoni, who popped it in. But it was just, we played the entire game. We played 10 yards further upfield, and it didn't feel as desperate. I think when we've got our back five, as soon as we turn the ball over, what happened is the team could come at us so quickly through the thirds, and it was just desperation after desperation after desperation. Every tackle had to be at it, because we were just dropping deeper and deeper and deeper. And now Darren Moore's forced into this change on Sunday. Now, again, I was convinced, that we spoke about last week, I was convinced we were going in with a back four, which I must say no one else thought we were. Sky Sports still had it 20 minutes in that we were playing with a back five. And 25 minutes in, they're like, oh, this is first time Darren Moore set up with a back four. And it did obviously come from the back of Kevin Nagle last week. I think it was pretty obvious in it that we had to set up. We set up that way because we wanted to play more attacking football. And to me, it was more attacking football with dictated play. The problem we have is when you've been so negative and shit for weeks and weeks and weeks, you can't just suddenly turn it on. Like in game, you can't suddenly go, right, let's go attack, let's go. Because you've got to get players into form. Darren Moore, for me, we'll break his tenure down a little bit in a while, but defensively, we always look pretty solid. We did look solid. We didn't look like we were going to concede. But that's because when you play with a back five, you have cover. Every single player in the back line has cover. There's no real one-on-one kind of markups. You've always got somebody behind you to be able to just help you out if you need it a little bit. Whereas on Sunday, first time all season, we went 1-for-1 at the back. And to be honest, I thought Hellick was in a bit of trouble with Sinclair Armstrong. I thought he manhandled him a little bit. And when Bolker came on, again, we'll talk about this in a bit, I guess, but I thought he'd be better. It showed you straight away the Dutch League is not the Championship. For the goal, he's pushed all, or he's just a little tug, and he's not used to it. You can see he's not used to physicality of the Championship. And now Brody should have done better. I think there'd have been he was a bit lightweight himself, and he got the wrong side of his man. But Bolker should have been cleaning that up all day. But again, that's what happens when you go 1-for-1 at the back. But for the majority of the game, we looked fine. That is a fine balance. When you do go 4 at the back, you're going to look a little bit weaker in different positions, and you're going to get found out a little bit more. I thought Tom Lees was outstanding. I thought he was fantastic. And to say he's all this centre back we've got, I think he's Olden Pearson as well. He looked fantastic. He looked amazing. In centre back 4 again, he looked like he's made for it, and he stood up and were countered. Jackson was a little bit weaker because, again, when you've got a back 4, your fullbacks then on the ball have got fewer options to play it backwards, and they have to kind of progress it forward a little bit. And now that's where I thought both fullbacks were pretty poor. I thought in the transition period, they kind of just ran it out a little bit. You could see they were inexperienced. And that's why I think if we're going with this from now on, if Darren Moore would have been staying, that's a weakness we'd have had to address. But overall, I thought we were just much better. We were winning the ball further upfield. We were pressing high. I still think it's very questionable suddenly going out and signing Healy and then playing him as a left winger when Bojan, to me, again, another one I thought that looked pretty lightweight on Sunday. You could see, he might have scored 24 goals in 28 games, whatever he did last season, but it wasn't in a physical league because he looks a little bit lightweight, again, just for me at the moment on Sunday. But we did just look better. The one-on-ones at the back, we didn't really concede from that. That wasn't the issue until obviously Bolker came on at the end, and We're the only team that plays back five, 22 games in a row, goes 1-0 up away from home, 5 minutes to go, and then don't go back to a back five when we need to. Like I say, Pearson, come on, shore it up, shithouse it. Nichols get his standard yellow card. I'm already looking for it as soon as we go 1-0 up, right? That's an easy one, that, isn't it? He's going to waste as much time as possible. But we just seem to not change. But then that is Darren Moore's problem, isn't it? It's negative football. And then in games, he cannot influence any sort of change whatsoever. And that came back again on Sunday. We managed to get ahead with a new system after controlling the game, but then we couldn't see it out because he couldn't change it in-game to adjust to what QPR were doing. And unfortunately, we walk away with just 1 point, and he's jobless the day after. It was a little bit too late, really, wasn't it, for everything? After Kevin Eagles come out again, like I say, last week and giving it the big one, there's nothing he could do. But last 10 minutes again, just little silly things we could have done just to slow it down, and he just doesn't do it. And ultimately, he's had to pay ultimate price there, hasn't he? And he finds himself out of a job today because of it.
Yeah, and I think our goal was, I've got to say that our goal shouldn't have been given because the ball goes to Lees and he's a mile offside. 99 times out of 100, that's given us offside and we don't score. It comes from Bolker being adventurous enough to have a shot from outside the box, which just doesn't happen in our team. You can tell he's new. You can tell he's a fresh face because that just doesn't happen more often than not. And it shows you, if you gamble, anything could happen. Takes a ricochet, deflection, falls into someone's path, bang, it's in.
It's right though, Nick. But when you've got the bodies up there as well, when you've got that extra body up there, that's when it happens. You create more chances for yourself when you've got more people up there. I will quickly mention that I thought Johnny Ogg slipping back into that defensive midfield role with a back four looked a different player. I thought he knew his role perfectly, and he was a leader that we've had for the last few years.
Yeah, it was.
Right about Lees, by the way. During the game, I thought Lees was brilliant because he let Hellick go and tackle Armstrong, and he tied it up brilliantly. You know, he didn't need to be quick. His lack of pace didn't catch him out once, because his positioning was perfect. Me and Colin noticed a couple of times where the ball came and he just took 2 steps back, 2 steps to his right, and then he only needed to take 3 strides and he could whack it out into touch for a throw-in. You know, I thought Lees had a great game.
Thing is, he's got competition now, though, hasn't he? You know, you've got Volker come in, so he's got to play well now, because if he doesn't, then he's got someone to take his place. And now Pearson's coming back as well. There's a decent amount of competition there, and it gets the best out of them. But to me, like I know what you're saying, guys, but I'm a bit more down on it than you on the performance, because I liked us in patches, but to me it's all about the end game, the end results. And you look at the stats as they are. We didn't have as much possession as QPR. We didn't have as many shots on goal. We didn't have as many shots on target. And to me, those are what matter. You know, we can play better, and it can be a lot of oohs and ahs. But did we really test the keeper enough? Did we really go at him? I can't remember, really. I mean, we had a great corner pretty much towards the beginning of the game. Sorba, which was a brilliant ball in from the corner, and it was Ely gets header in. Keeper makes a good save from close range. We never do it again. He just does a flat, I think next corner, he just does a flat delivery. And that's the second time now. We picked out against Blackburn. We do something decent, but then we don't, instead of just doing it again and again and going for it and just trying to get as many, we kind of just keep, we just do different things. And I just don't think to me, it's all about the end product, and it can look as good as you want up to the final third. But if we aren't testing that goalkeeper, it's ineffective for me. And we didn't test them enough again.
It's hard though, Nick. That's the thing though. It's hard. I just think it's hard to suddenly switch that on after 22 games of shit where you're not attacking. That's the thing. We were pressuring so high. But I genuinely think in training, we've just worked in being structured in defence. I really think what happened is Darren Moore, after the Leeds game and the Cardiff game, shat himself, thinking we're too leaky. We need to shore this up, and we need to be better at the back. And I understand that for a very short period. But what happened was Mark Fotheringham was exactly the same. He came in, wanted to play attacking football, but then they just get into this. You have a couple of bad defeats. The players shake confidence a little bit. And coach, inexperience. I know Darren was not that inexperienced, but in this kind of relegation battle, a little bit more inexperienced when it comes to the squad that we have. They just suddenly think, right, we can't concede. We just got to focus on not conceding. Goals will come. But they don't. And then you don't create chances. And that's why, we didn't create very much, but we were in the right area of the pitch for the first time. I think 65 minutes into the game, it showed a graphic of 52% of the game was spent in QPR's third. And now I'll guarantee that hadn't happened this season. Probably didn't happen to Warnock at all. And yeah, we aren't creating enough. We aren't. But then I don't think he's been. I genuinely don't. I don't know how many of the coaching staff. I think we spoke about this last week. Are attacking-minded coaches as well. I've not seen us on a pitch try any kind of attacking moves. I've not seen it. We might have some corners which are terrible, as you said, Nick, which is your thing. I love you. I love you calling out corners week in, week out. But apart from that, which are awful, right? What kind of attacking players have you seen in it? Because I just think with Warnock, you knew when we went forward, it wasn't pretty, but you had your assignments: front post, back post, holding back, late running. Right, you kind of had 4 guys splitting in the box every time we went forward. Under Darren Moore, not a bloody clue. Mark Fotheringham just used to lump it long. He honestly reverted back to giving it to fullbacks and lumping it long and open. We could get it to stick up there, and that never worked. But Darren Moore, I don't know what it is. I have no idea. After watching every game that he had managing us, I have got no idea what kind of attacking football, what kind of attacking patterns of play he tried to instill in the team. Because other than Sorba Thomas going on outside every single time and crossing it in, when he's crossing is great, but sometimes you're a cut-in man. Have a cut-in and have a bit of a go like Josh Corona does. But apart from that, I don't actually know how we are designed to attack because, well, we haven't had a chance to do it because he's defending it all the time. But it's again too little too late. I think we opened up, we got better, we got into the right areas of the pitch, Nick, but like you said, the attacks just weren't there, were there? There's just no unlocking. It's not even there's nobody to unlock to make that pass, which people, we need a 10. No, we need people to make the runs so the 10 could actually find them with that pass. They don't even make those kind of clever sideways runs. You never see a guy make it and you think, oh, do you know what? He should have hit that. It just doesn't happen. It's just, there's no runs. There's no lateral movement. It's all one-dimensional, very simple football. And to defend, it looks like it'd be pretty straightforward to defend. And that's why we rarely concede from open play, unless like yesterday, where it's like a deflected shot and we're just there because we've got the numbers up, which is quite a Warnock-esque way to score.
I can't remember the last time we scored a goal by a threaded pass through the middle onto a runner. I can't remember. And we just don't, you're right. I mean, without any bloody coaches, haven't we? But I don't know what they do. I don't know what they do in training because there's no understanding there. It doesn't look like there's any understanding on the pitch. There's no partnerships there. There's nobody thinking, right, I don't need to think about this. When I get the ball, I'm going to pass it there because I know that Sorba's going to be running through or Healy's going to make a run inside and I can just pass it without thinking. There's none of that whatsoever. You've got to take 4 touches before laying it off. He takes a touch, scratches himself, takes another touch, has a look around, takes another touch, player then starts making a run. Oh, it's taken off us. And that's what it's like. It's ridiculous. And I don't know, guys. I mean, it's so one-dimensional. You're right. All our goals come from either set pieces or from wide crosses in. Very, very rarely do we ever score playing through the middle. And it has. I mean, is that the midfield? I think we do. I think we are short still. I think we are short of creativity in the midfield, definitely. And I was a bit disheartened when I saw Kev's tweet today saying that that's probably it for transfers. That the chances are that I think the players that we would like to bring are probably too expensive. And it doesn't look like there's any potential loans on the horizon either, which is a real shame because I think we are short of someone that can pick out better passes and maybe just stand on the ball, just dictate the play a little bit more. But we've got what we've got, and I can't help thinking that another manager can get better out of this squad. Well, I mean, you say about the we've tried to show up the defence and we've got, and he's gone with the back 5 most of the time because they're frightened to concede. But we've only kept a clean sheet 3 times in his entire tenure. So it's not as if we're keeping loads of clean sheets as a foundation. We're conceding every game, and when you only score 1 goal. That's why we've got so many 1-1 draws, isn't it? So
I still can't believe we're not in there's 3 teams worse than us, and I think that I was thinking about the last year when we got into a mess with Fotheringham, Neil rode in on his white horse and saved the day. I think the squad has been strengthened. I'm with Unit Max. I think when I look at the activity so far of QPR on Wednesday, I actually think our transfer activity has been much better. Though the Wednesday signing we yet, have they? So I do think there's all the recipes there. But my worry is that we played a trump card last year by wearing Warnock out, and he galvanised the team and he shit out his way to keeping us in the league. What we're going to need somebody who's going to, interestingly, Kev says they want somebody who's going to make an instant impact. We're going to need to have somebody who makes an instant impact because we can't wait 6, 8, 10 games for somebody to find the legs because we'll be relegated. I said the only thing that's given me any comfort is I think the others around us are as poor as we are. So I can't see QPR or Wednesday going particularly on a run and winning 3, 4, 5 games back to back that you're going to need to really give yourself a proper chance. But do you think it could be the year we end up running out of road no matter who we bring in?
I don't know. I think I don't think QPR looked like very good yesterday, like you say, guys. I don't think they're going to go on that run of 3, 4, 5 games without losing. I think they look solid. I think they will win some games until we see Sheffield Wednesday this coming week. I don't think Rotherham. I think Rotherham are done. They've got quite a long way to catch up, and I think us and QPR will pick up points because we are solid in defence, solid enough. How many games we can win is another question, no matter who's in charge. But I think there's enough about us to get some points. Sheffield Wednesday, I don't know because we've got to see him. We've obviously got to see him this weekend to see how they go under their new coach. To be honest, I thought we'd go down last year, and if Neil Warnock doesn't come in last year, we get relegated. I don't think any other coach comes in and saves that season. And then we weakened over the summer. We weakened by a long, long way. It comes down to if we can score with these strikers, I think. I think if Healy or Bojan can score, like I said, Bojan might have bagged loads in Finland, but to me, I think it's going to take a bit of time to get up to pace here. I thought Healy's really, really good, but then Helik's gone off injured. And if Helik's injured and done, we're in trouble. I think that's probably a bigger miss will be Helik than how many goals these strikers can score. But I think we're just lucky. Like I say, I haven't looked this week, but last week we were about 4 points worse off the teams in the bottom 3 this year compared to last. So it's weaker at the bottom of the division this year than it was last year. But then now there's a gap in there between us and Birmingham, and then kind of everyone else is kind of a bit of a gap there. It doesn't look like anybody else is going to fall in other than Birmingham. Now Rooney's gone, so they're going to pick up a few points and probably do a little bit better. But it's out. It's this Wednesday is massive. Wednesday is we said QPR on Wednesday are massive games, and again we'll go on to shortly with Darren Moore sacking and why. I'll explain a little bit more. Then I just think it's a bit silly making this move right now. Before then, if we don't have somebody coming in right now, we've got Wednesday where we beat them, and I think you'd be quite surprised to get relegated. I think if we beat Wednesday at the weekend and QPR failed to win, 6 points away from relegation zone again, and you'd feel like, oh, that's quite a long way when there's only 16 games left at that point to the end of the season. It's quite a big jump for any team to catch up. But instead, we've got rid of Darren Moore today, and John Worthington's taking charge, obviously, before unless somebody comes in the meantime. But by the sounds of it, Worthington will be preparing and taking the team on Saturday for one of the most important games of the season, or the most important game of the season. It will be, I think, unless there's a decider at the end. But for the foreseeable future, this is as important as it gets, especially looking at the fixtures coming up after it. So it's a big move. It's a huge move. But do I see us getting dragged in? Yeah, of course we can. If we can't score goals and Helik's out, then we're in serious trouble. And removing Darren at this point, it could spin it saying we're 3 unbeaten here. We're doing all right. What is it, 3 unbeaten? We're all right. And we should have won. We should have won all 3 of those games. We didn't, and that's why he's gone. And that's why, like I say, we're looking down barrel of relegation 3.
Yeah, and look at the teams we've played as well, and look at what teams we've got to play. That's what worries me, because if we can't beat these sides, you've got Southampton, Leeds, Hull, who are pushing for playoffs. You've got some really tough games coming up, and it's still, although the squad's better, it's still quite limited. And you're right, if Helik is injured, then we're relying on Bolker to suddenly come really, really good, really, really quickly. I mean, we've flirted with relegation for years. I mean, barring that Carlos anomalous season, we've been relegation most of the time. And I think the last time that I committed and said we were definitely going down, I ended up in a 2-2 running up and down steps at stadium. So I'm not going to say for certain we're going to go down.
Nick.
But,
go on, Nick. Go on, make a commitment, Nick. Nick, this is your moment. Come on.
But it doesn't look good, does it? I mean, under Darren Moore, we averaged 0.9 points a game, and that's rock bottom form. And yet somehow, still by some miracle, we're not in the bottom 3. I can't understand it. I've no idea how we're not in the bottom 3 already. It's a miracle, really, that we aren't. So for that reason alone, you've got to have some hope. But I couldn't believe that, Ian. When the announcement came out, let's get into it. So the announcement came out about 12:30 today. It was no surprise. Everybody was saying right from after the game. Everyone were waiting for the old picture of the empty stadium and the corner flag to come up, weren't they, on Twitter to say a club announcement. And sure enough, they didn't. Unfortunately, we didn't get that. The fans were disappointed, but we got the message through. But then the fact that it didn't say anything about a caretaker or anything, people were thinking, well, we must have someone lined up then. And bearing in mind, it's such a huge game on Saturday, massive game against such a relegation rival. And then 8 hours later, we also get a statement saying, "Oh yeah, and Worthington's going to be taking us for the game." Like, what? I thought it was Sandra on there for a minute, winding everyone up, and then I read it. I'm like, "Oh God, no, it's right." What? I think everyone was just a bit confused as to what. To me, it makes no sense because this isn't anything new, is it? We've had doubts. Surely Kevin Nagel's had his own personal doubts for a long time. Surely, to God, we've been sounding somebody out for this job. Surely, we must have spoken to people about this job. You would have someone lined up, wouldn't you? You must do. There must be somebody close. But to go into that game with a caretaker, and look, there's no disrespect to Worthy whatsoever. I used to love him as a player, Worthy, but we might as well have just stuck with Darren Moore for this, and we'd have probably got another draw, 1-1, because we always do. But now I'm thinking, well, we're going to lose this game, and rightly or wrongly, I hope I'm proved wrong, and we do great, but caretaker managers, it rarely goes well, especially at Town. It's a lot to put on Worthy and the team on this game. The pressure's going to be massive. The fans, if it doesn't go well for the first sort of 10, 20 minutes, if we're not playing well, the atmosphere is going to be awful. And are they going to cope with that pressure? Are they going to be able to make the in-game tactical decisions to influence the game? I don't know. But I'm worried. I'm worried for that game. I really am. And if we lose that, bloody hell. I mean, Southampton away after. That's a baptism of fire, isn't it? For whoever the poor sod that comes in, going to have to deal with. So, yeah, I was baffled. I'm baffled by that. I really am, because if we're going to make the decision, get someone in, get them in.
Right. Well, I would have thought after the way Nagel's been carrying on with his video diaries and talking about we have to win 3 out of 3, and then when we didn't win 3 out of 3, we have to win next game. It's a must win. Surely, and then he's been talking to other managers. I'm with you. When I read the statement and didn't see another name for a caretaker manager, my assumption was a deal was being done, and before the end of the day we'd have a name, and then mid-afternoon, here we go. Oh no, by the way, John's taking it. So one or two things has happened. One, they've either got somebody pretty close and they just haven't been able to iron out whatever the deal is in terms of money or T's and C's or contract length or whatever it is. Or, more worryingly, they've just, they've done this on a whim. Kev's got himself into a corner where we didn't win, so he has to deal with him. The deal was obviously done last night, because I think when they announced it, it was about 4 a.m. in SACKramento. So I'm fairly sure he wasn't out of bed negotiating a deal. This was done last night, wasn't it? And they will have just been ironing out the compo this morning with Darren. So, yeah, it's a really strange one. And as you say, the Wednesday game isn't just important for the reason we've got to win, but we also need to start, somebody's coming in, the sooner they get in, the sooner they can start to stamp the mark on the team, because if they're going to come with a style of playing, that'll be the next thing, won't it? 2 or 3 games to get that going. And, Southampton game is going to be a write-off. Leeds game is going to be a write-off. I've just had a quick look. QPR have got Blackburn on Saturday. So, we lose to Wednesday, they beat Blackburn, suddenly we're in a real world of trouble, aren't we? So it's not just our game that's important, it's the others that are around us as well. So it's really weird. Kevin went a bit quiet after he went back to the States, I noticed, although he's now back again. Now they've got rid of him. He was leaving Dave Carmichael to wind everybody up, I think, wasn't he? I mean, I'm not entirely sure his sarcastic comments on
I love it.
I mean, what a bell end. I mean, he wasn't helping.
It's great theatre.
Oh, it's his first bell end. It's his first bell end. Ding, ding, ding. We've got the first Kevin Nagel / Dave Carmichael bell end given out. Oh, guys. It's taken longer. It's taken longer than normal. But to be fair, you're not wrong.
Yeah, I mean,
Is
just
it Dave Carmichael or Carmichael Dave? Because I call
yeah,
him Dave, but then it's the other way around, isn't it? Where he
is
puts
it?
it.
Oh, wow. I thought it was, well, I knew his real name anyway. Anyway,
I don't
either way,
know.
he wasn't helping anybody, was he, on Saturday morning with his
So,
tweet? And I
Ask him, Gaz.
appreciate
Ask him.
it.
Ask him, Gaz. Say, hey, Dave, we're just calling you a bellend, but we want to call you it properly.
yeah,
Can you
we just
let
want to
us
make
know
sure it's
exactly how
right,
we
mate. Is
refer
it?
to you? Yeah. Is it Dave Carmichael, you bellend? What we're going with here? But
No, but listen, he was, and in fairness, I appreciated it was all in sarcasm, but I don't think the position we're currently in calls for sarcastic, smart aleck comments from people within the club. It's not where we really are, is it? When you've got a bloke who's facing the sack if you don't win the game either. You know, it was a bit shoddy, really. But yeah, it's a real weird one. I was looking at the odds earlier, and you know, as we said before we came on, I think no matter who gets appointed, 25% of the town fans will think it's a waste of time and they're never coming again. And I've just ripped up my season ticket and I'm never coming back into the ground until he's got, I can just fucking see it all, no matter who it is. So that's going to be a challenge. They're going to have to get over that to start with, aren't they? You know, the names that have been mentioned, Mazzinho and Eustace and Eckingbottom, you know, people saying, why we want to go for people of that quality. Well, because we're a fucking championship club who's virtually on the edge of relegation, who doesn't have the money of people at the other end of the league. It shouldn't take too much explaining, should it? But you know, I think, yeah, it's been a weird 12 hours on it, that's for sure.
it's been a weird week. Like, we love the diaries. We spoke about it a lot. It's nice, but then it's I've got to be careful how I say this. Would you guys consider it a little bit unprofessional when it comes to saying, like, the way, because realistically, the way Nagel spoke last week, if Darren Moore didn't win against QPR, he was sacked. It was an ultimatum, or it felt like it, and that's what we kind of all decided last week. And it's not really done in English football like that, is it? It's a new way to do it. You can like it or dislike it, but it's not really the done thing. And now we spoke about QPR game. I thought it was much better. And I think if Kevin Nagel last week doesn't go out and make that commitment, or not commitment, but suggest what would happen if we didn't win, if you don't make it, I think Darren Moore's still on a job, because I think there's enough improvement yesterday to go into Wednesday, like with all the problems you've got, we're going in without a proper manager, and the players, we're still playing for Darren Moore. We saw the players give up for Fotheringham. That was clear as day, where people kicking dugouts, throwing bibs, getting pissed off. We don't have that under Darren Moore. It did look like they respected him. So we saw Rodoni score, the running to the bench, got showing and T-shirt, Gaz, which you.
I thought he died. I had to go back onto it just to check the message. I thought, what's going on here?
It was a touching tribute to the late great Dolly Turton, wasn't it? Honestly,
but at least there's some togetherness there, right? You can take there's a bit of togetherness there, right? And if the coach is a joke, that ain't there. Like, that it falls apart within itself. And it's just, I just thought, if we're doing all right like that, like we have been doing, it wouldn't be the time to get rid of Darren Moore. Not yet. I don't think it was. I think it was maybe a couple of weeks ago. But like, going through these 3 games, we've looked a little bit better. We're kind of progressing a little bit. We've got new players in. You're kind of supporting him that way. So give him a bit more of a chance, maybe. But then he had no option. After Warnock called him out a little bit in that press conference, we knew he was gone at that point. Not Americans, but successful professional people hold their own appearance, both professionally and physically, important to them, right? And it was once you've made that kind of suggestion that he's gone if he don't win, regardless of how it goes, if he don't win, he's gone. And that's kind of what I think's happened here. I still think it's really important, really, really important to understand the relation, I believe, between season tickets going on sale in a few weeks and Darren Moore being removed from his job now. And in the fans are disengaged. It's likely season ticket prices are going to go up. And with the fans as disengaged with the manager as I've ever seen, other than really Fotheringham, it's not just a football move that the club can benefit from. I imagine commercially it can too, because it's going to give people a bit more hope when a new guy comes in. Apart from that 25% that rip up the season tickets, guys, and don't want anything to do with him because it's a joke appointment, obviously. But you always get that. But it's kind of the thing that really fucks me off here is that we kind of all knew this was going to happen. From the moment Warnock's removed, we knew whoever came in next were going to be a bit of a fall guy. When Warnock's parting shot is, there's no reason they can't go for playoffs. At that point, town fans are like, little kids, we're going for the playoffs. If we don't, Uncle Uncle Warnock said we were going. He was fine. He said we were going to playoffs, and now we're not. It's Darren's fault. Like that's the thing. And I just feel that Maru came in wasn't going to be good enough for the fans. But then it's really easy to look where it went wrong for him. Ipswich game, substitution, 7 minutes in, we're beating one of the best teams in division and doing all right, because at that point we were a little bit more defensive, but it wasn't as set in as it became. And then he took off best 3 players we had, I think, Hogg, Uter, and Karoma, I think. I can't really remember now. It's off the top of my head. 7 minutes in, he did that, and we ended up drawing the game. And we had that game won. We had it won, but he made the substitutions I didn't feel he had to need to make, and he cost us. And then we went to Leeds, and he was tactically inept. It was tactically inexcusable playing Edwards. Which winger were it, Gaz? Fast lad who were doing him over and over and over again. Somerville, that were it.
Somerville, yeah.
And he didn't change it. 10 minutes in, he's given about 17 goals away. He didn't change it. He kept it till half time. And that's synonymous with Darren Moore's tenure at Huddersfield Town, an inability or no desire to change it when he got it wrong. And I again, we spoke about it before. Like, going back to we should go over back for this weekend, and we did. If I've not mentioned that, I'll mention that again. It was the only option I thought we could go at, and that's from my own experience as a player and as a coach. Against Leeds, Darren Moore made decisions there that I couldn't understand. I can't fathom it. Normally, I think between us as Town fans, you can kind of work out what people are trying. Time and time again, Darren Moore's substitutions were fucking weird. They were never understandable. And that over time just gets fans turned against you. You could feel it once substitutions came. Like, they were just not that open groan you get when we pass backwards to the goalkeeper, but still just deflating on it. It would just like week after week after week. You never got that, right, we're at him here, last 15, let's have a go. Come on, let's steal this game. Until QPR, I thought we were all right. Then we did score. And then we decided not to bother playing anymore, and we turned it away at that point. But I just thought we Darren, I don't know. Do you know what? I don't know much about Darren Moore still. His press conferences were embarrassing. His tactical setups were quite often embarrassing. And his subs were less than hopeless. They were actually damaging normally to how we were playing. And for those 3 reasons alone, I'm out. It's like Dragon's Den, isn't it, this?
Yeah.
But it's just he didn't seem to learn, really. Or if it did, it was very, very slow. And again, I thought we got to a point yesterday where we were better. But when Kevin Eagle's gone out, he's got no option but to remove him. He's got to do it. And again, I think it's a very American NFL kind of thing, that those kind of, if you don't win, you're gone. I think you hear that a bit more in American sports than you do in English sports. And I can't say you're saying it's wrong, but I don't know. It didn't feel normal. And yeah, we're all resistant to change. Yorkshire blokes, Yorkshire people more than anybody, I guess. But he just felt a bit off. And he's pushed himself into a corner yesterday where he's had to get rid of him today. My favourite part, though, man, was the little tease before the game. It's like, welcome to QPR, and it's a photo with a corner flag to start off with. The game started with Town tweeting a corner flag photo of QPR, and I loved it. And there's no accident there, surely. But like you say, as soon as the game's over, it's a long drive home on the coach, where I'm thinking, are they going to sack him now? And he's got to sit on coach with all the players. What's going to happen? What's going to happen here? So I kind of gathered he'd get home, and then this morning, Town didn't tweet at all, like you say, Nick, until it were about Andy Oldsworth's birthday. And it was like, oh, all right, didn't expect that one. Fair enough. Is it happening? Little teasers there. And then eventually news came through later on. And I think the writing's been on the wall since the Plymouth. As soon as it was a Plymouth game where Nagel sat in the crowd.
That was the
and
one.
Afterwards he came out. And you just know, because once you sat there and you're seeing it and you're feeling it, you just know fans aren't there anymore. And they checked out. They checked out a long time ago.
I do wonder, I mean, I have won't be a popular opinion, but I do have a little bit of sympathy with him. I think, that he was sold a pup in terms of probably the quality of our squad. That clearly Nagel and Cartwright and Edwards were of the opinion the squad was better than it was, and they publicly said so, really, didn't they? So I think he was sold a bit of a pup. The injury list has been horrendous, but his training, his tactics have ended up with that. I think Dell was a massive loss to him. I think he was almost starting to just find a way. The Blackburn game was a good example. He was just starting to find a way to play on the break, with Dell being really effective with Sorba, and then we lost him. But yeah, I also think when he was at West Brom and at Wednesday, I think this thing about changing games here, and I think he had players in that team who were of a quality that would change the game without his intervention. People like Barry Bannon, people like, I'm trying to think, but people like Livermore that was at West Brom, people of a real Premier League mindset, even though they may not be Premier League quality anymore, who could see stuff in a game and change himself. I love Oggy a bit, but if I had a choice between Barry Bannon and Jonathan Ogg, I know which one it'd be, and it won't be Oggy. So I do wonder whether that's what's carried him when he's been manager in other locations, that he hasn't had to interfere in the game because the players have dealt with it themselves. And we haven't got that level of quality here, perhaps. But listen, it's the most underwhelming reign probably since Mark Fotheringham. So that tells you a lot, doesn't it? But the one thing I do know is we can't keep fucking sacking managers, because we're starting to look like a bit of a joke and makes us even more unattractive to anybody of any quality, and B, you just can't build a future. You can't build a sustainable future for your club sacking a manager every 6 months. It just can't happen. And when we appointed Moore, I think we said at the time there'll be a sticky point, and at some point we'll see whether Kev rides it out, and he hasn't.
The thing is, though, I've got to be fair to Kev here, to Nagel, in that he brought him in on a multi-year deal, and at this point in the season, after 23 games, he said he's admitted he's got it wrong. He hasn't said it yet. I imagine that'll come in next. We predicted this when he was appointed. We said we'll be sat in here in December or January, and they'll be apologising and say, "No, sorry, I got that appointment wrong. It's my fault." Because that's the only option. That's the only option they could have after following Warnock with their own appointment if it didn't work out, and that's where we find ourselves. But I'm with you. I feel a little bit sorry for Darren. He might be. I feel pretty harsh. I've been called him tactically simple. I think that's one of the worst things you could actually say about a football manager. But I'll stick with it, because he did have a limited squad, and I honestly think the board understand it now. They might not have before, and it was an ego-driven thing. Maybe we thought we were better than we were, and we could come in with a smaller squad and do better. But they've gone out and spent money, and if it is 7 figures for whichever players, then from all the meetings I've had with Kevin Nagel, that was not in the plans at that point. I don't feel, in that they were talking a lot about balancing budgets and this, that, and the other. But I think we've panicked a little bit because we realised we are quite a way away from where other teams are in the Championship and where you need to be to compete week in and week out against everybody. And they've gone back and they kind of rectified that mistake, which, fair enough, well played. I think we need it. Good on you. You've gone out and done it. But then they're giving Darren Moore like 2 games with these players and then got rid of him. And I just feel there's a bit of a disconnect there between what they said initially, what they've actually gone back and done now, and then sacking Darren Moore so quickly. It just doesn't feel like a kind of straight progression, does it? It just feels a bit up and down, a bit here and there, and no real synergy between decisions they seem to be making week in, week out at the moment. But then that's what happens with football teams, doesn't it? When you panic. Everyone saw Sunderland Till I Die documentary where they weren't going to sign out any striker. They were signing no striker on transfer deadline day. Is it Will Grigg? I think they go spend $3 million on when they had no plan on doing it in the morning. But that's what happens in football when you're panicking. When you need to get something done, you have to just react and think quickly. The thing is, those moments and those decisions define and decide seasons. And ours will be defined and decided upon whether getting rid of Darren Moore now is the right thing to do or not, if the next appointment's not right. So it's a big call by everybody.
It's a big call. We've got a comment here. I can't add it in, unfortunately. We've got a comment from David Piccione. Yeah, there we go. So saying he wasn't really sold a pub. If he'd have done his research and knew where it was going, then he might have known what state we're in. And I guess, well, yeah.
He's probably actually, in fairness to David, he's probably got a point, because we've talked about this before anyway, where if he'd have known that squad and done any research, why would he play Yuta Nakayama at centre midfield at Birmingham?
Yeah, I'm still in therapy for that, mate. I'm still waking up in cold sweats over it.
To be fair, though, Neil Warnock was no different. When Neil Warnock came in, the first game we had was against Stoke last season, and we were absolutely awful. And I I Ronnie called Warnock up, didn't he? Saying, "What have we signed on for here? What have we?" So I don't actually think it's as crazy as it sounds. But then there aren't that many jobs available in the English Football League, is there? There's only 92 of them. So if one's available and you can take it, most people are going to jump at it. Especially when every now and again a club seems to just go abroad, regardless of what's available at home as well. There's not that many opportunities for football managers to jump in. So he probably didn't know exactly what he was coming in for, but then I don't think you've got the luxury when you're a football manager to, especially when you left Sheffield Wednesday the way you did, to come into a club the size of Huddersfield Town. Like we're a bona fide Championship club. We've got a big fan base, and we get quite a bit of money to spend, evidently, because we're spending it now on strikers and stuff in January. Okay, it's relative to the division we're in. It's not a lot, but for Darren Moore, there's probably not many other opportunities he could have taken as appealing as us. But I don't think he'd have been as aware of this squad, because, like you say, you wouldn't have been playing there if he had been.
It were like a pre-season, and it were like just experimenting. It doesn't matter if it don't work, but it does, because it were a league game, and it were embarrassing. That Birmingham game. It's just baffling decisions, and you're right. It just looked like he'd no idea whatsoever what he'd walked into, and he was just tinkering, and he was taking about 4 or 5 games to get his formation right and to know the players. But we didn't have that luxury. We didn't have that luxury of time to start messing around and experimenting and putting square pegs in round holes and all that. It were always going to be a poison chalice, the job. Though I said it right at the beginning when Warnock went, because he was such a big character as well. And you've got someone like Darren Moore, and he's such a nice guy, but he's just a complete contrast in personality. And the town fans do not warm to that sort of personality at all. He hadn't helped himself the fact he hasn't gone and applauded the fans most of the games, and I appreciate that. But it was always going to be such a difficult
He did on
act to follow.
Saturday, and I think as he was walking down the pitch and people told him to fuck off, I think he was
Well,
regretting it.
I think he knew he was going there and then, which is why he went and to applaud him to say thanks, because I don't think he would have done it otherwise, guys. I was going to ask, like, what was the feeling at the end of the final whistle? Because
It was a bit of a mix. It was a bit of a mix. There was a bit of vitriol certainly coming from behind us at the back in the rail seat in there where the younger lads were. But it was a bit of apathy from me, really. I didn't feel the need to tell the bloke to F off, really, you know. But we were talking earlier, Ian and I, about polls. You know, you look at, there's been several polls on the last day or so about whether he should stay. And it's 90%. 90% he'd lost the fans, hasn't he? So
yeah.
He never got him back. He never got him back from Leeds. What happened in that Leeds game? Football is a bit like a story. It's like a story. It's like a storybook, like a fairy tale, and these narratives and what happened in that Leeds game was never going to be forgotten, unfortunately, for Darren Moore, unless he went on a massive running streak. But the squad that we have, it's just not going to happen, even for the best manager. The best thing we can do is survive. But the problem is when the fans turn against you, the wins are kind of muted and the defeats are amplified. People want to jump straight down your throat, and that's kind of what remains. I know we've only won 3 in 23 under him, but which surprises me, actually. I know. Is it the second? Is it one of the second worst record we've had as a Huddersfield Town coach? But we don't feel like we've lost. We've lost a few embarrassingly, but most of them were just drawn. It's just not quite there. And to go from a draw to wins, only little tweaks here and there. So he's not that far off. But the way
isn't that terrible?
Yeah, it's just like you say. The fans turned against him, and he never won them back round. And unfortunately for him, he doesn't have that. Again, we'll talk about replacements shortly, but he doesn't have that. He's not as character. He's not a character. He doesn't seem to be a loud character or a strong character. He might be great in the dressing room, fantastic, but when it comes to leading fans, it's just not quite there for Town fans, and we need it. If you buy it, it buys you time. It buys you time as an Huddersfield Town coach. It really does. And he didn't have it, and he lost it after Leeds because certain games you can lose badly in, but Leeds away is just not one of them. It's just not, because you've got 4,000 Town fans there that hardcore support, that are loud, the vocal minority maybe, but they'll give it you exactly as they feel it, and not often is it fair, and not often is it right, but they will. And when they're chanting, "There's only one Neil Warnock," and you're getting sacked in the morning, which is baiting the Leeds fan is singing, "There's only one Darren Moore." That was a joke, and I don't think Darren liked it. I think that's when the not coming and clapping the fans kind of became a thing. Or when everyone kind of noticed it, and he just never recovered from it. And again, unless you win those games, you're not going to. It's been. I kind of do feel sorry for him for the squad that he's got, but then again, he's won 3 games in 23. So what more can you expect?
If you've got the experience behind you of proven success, getting teams out of the Championship, or if you're a lower end Premier League manager, that would buy you time. If you're a personality and you were shouting on the touchline, passionate and going up to the fans, that would buy you time. But unfortunately, he's kind of neither. And I mean, the record speaks for itself. He'll get a decent job. He's got a decent payout. I'm sure he'll be a success somewhere. I hope so for him. I don't wish him any ill whatsoever. But sometimes managers at certain clubs, it just doesn't work. It's just not a fit. And Darren Moore just wasn't a fit for this football club, not in terms of personality and tactics. I mean, all this rubbish about attacking football, and I've never seen him play attacking football. Any Wednesday fan just laughs at him, like, what? I mean, I'd hate to see his defensive football. Let's put it, if that's his attacking football, what's his defensive?
Oh my God, Darren Moore defensive football.
So I mean, and I'm just having a look now. Jake Edwards has come out and he said we're looking for our next appointment to have a short-term impact, big short-term impact, but also to fit with our longer-term strategy of building attack-minded, progressive style of football. Well, I hope Jurgen Klopp's available then, because I tell you what,
yeah, what a
reading
load of
that,
football jargon.
Yeah, but what manager ticks those boxes from what's available?
Well,
because I'm struggling, guys, to be honest.
So I've got the odds. You'll see. I'm going to see if I can put them on the screen.
What he's saying, what he's saying is we're not getting Sam Allardyce or Neil Warnock because I can't think of another manager that fits into the firefighting to the end of the season.
Who's coming in and having a big short-term impact here? And that's my point, because to me, all these options that we're talking, realistic options, are sort of slow burners, longer-term success project-type managers that will come in and may not set the world alight, but may build to something. But who's actually going to come in with the personality and the experience and the charisma to be able to get immediate short-term results for this football club? I don't see any of those having those kind of qualities.
Does that come
No,
up?
but I don't know what else he can say though. What else can they say? They can. I don't know what else he can come out and kind of lift.
I don't know. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know, mate. But equally, town fans, they can smell bullshit a mile away as well, can't they? And it just adds more fuel to the fire, doesn't it? When it was like when Darren Moore came in and he was saying all the heaping. That's why I alluded to this attacking football.
Yeah, do you know what?
It just put pressure on him from the off.
You're spot on, Ian. Do you know what? Honestly, I think the actual best appointment Town could make is somebody behind the scenes. It's like that Sean Jarvis, Dean Hall kind of guy. DTS is actually pretty good. It's somebody who can face the fans and sounds like one of us. Because at the moment, it kind of just feels like it's business jargon. It's just like talking waffle and means nothing. And ultimately, it's not working. And just fans are getting more disengaged by the way. That's the appointment. The next appointment's the engagement manager rather than the actual football coach. But they have to have somebody. They've got to go find somebody. Because
I would get a fan on the panel advising them on what to say and how Town think, because we all know this league. We've known it for, like, some of us for 20, 30, 40, 50 years. We know exactly what Huddersfield Town fans want, how to speak the language, the style of manager they're looking for, the way to communicate things to the fans. But I've no idea if they have any sort of fan advisors to them. But I tell you what, they need them, because it's all that. If they come out with this bollocks and then they appoint somebody that's the fans find underwhelming, they're immediately on the back foot. Immediately on the back foot before a ball's even been kicked again.
That's why I think we've got to go abroad again. I know you're going to go on to odds here, guys, but I honestly think I'd take the gamble again. We're okay. We're used to it. We're kind of used to. I know Jan Seivert didn't work, but Corbyn, came from Leeds, but again, it was kind of a foreign appointment, wasn't it? Foreign style. Wagner worked. That's what I'd be doing at this point, because I think, like you say, anyone from England's going to have that. Oh, that's boring, short-sightedness. And
no thanks.
Yeah, you're going to get people who've got personal opinions. Oh, no, I coached Leeds, or he cheered when Sheffield Wednesday scored, or something like that. People won't like it. So to me, I'd go abroad again. But again, it's a gamble. It is a gamble.
The list is full of the usual suspects in terms of the odds, and then one or two you're having a laugh, I think. So
Paul Jewell. Where's Paul Jewell? He only knocks about at this point, doesn't he? Paul Jewell being at 3 times, Dog Allen, whatever it is.
Paul Ince is 50-1. You fancy that? Fancy a fight. Mark Hughes is 50-1. If you break Gary Monk's 50-1. Now that really would be a lot, wouldn't it? If you pointed Gary Monk, that would be a lot, wouldn't it? So it's like listening.
I'd go abroad. I'd look abroad. The thing is, right? So look, break it down this way. We're already looking at signing players from abroad again. We've brought in Radulovic from Finland. We've brought in Bolka from Holland. We know a club our size kind of has to think outside the box a little bit when it comes to signing players, because the English market's super competitive. You have to try and find value elsewhere. Coventry got promoted last year on the back of Yockers, and bringing in a couple of guys overseas, and that's what you kind of have to do. I know it was a little bit different, but Town have done it before with a German influx under Wagner. I think that is the only way you can have a championship club with a budget like ours overperform. And I know it's high risk gamble, but I think with a team like us, it's not a bad way to go. And we've got it right before, and we paid the massive dividends. Corbyn nearly took us up for a second time.
One of those on the list, though. When you look down the list, there isn't one.
But both times with Wagner and both times with Wagner and Corbyn, I don't think they were there early doors, were they? I think they took. I don't think they were on the betting list early. I'm pretty sure they just had on the last championship manager sacked. Whoever Middlesbrough, who would it last coach appointed? Would it have been Birmingham? or it'll be Sunderland or Stoke. I don't know. Whoever it is. Imagine they just copy and paste their odds in and go from there. But I feel like we've done it once. We've brought in the Championship manager, Darren Moore, League One, but we've kind of brought him in and thought, right, let's plug and play him. Let's give him a go. That hasn't worked. I'll be surprised if we go down the exact same route again. I think Heckingbottom's a little bit different, having got Sheffield United to where they were. I think that's a little bit more aspirational than your League One guy doing it. You've gone for your Championship successful guy. But other than that, I think you might be surprised. I hope it's not another Stoke connection. I'm already sick of that shit. Everyone who seems to have been to Stoke twice is appealing. Oh, don't start that, guys. I just feel like fans are going to turn off that again. It's not necessarily.
Guess who was at Stoke when Nathan Jones got appointed?
Oh, stop it! But no, it's not even that. It's not even that Nathan Jones for me isn't a good appointment. It's just that I feel that fans again we're already kind of figuring it out. They're going a bit Stoke here. And Stoke have achieved what? When was the last time Stoke achieved anything? They're not the club you want to. Exactly. If you're going to copy your club, it's not Stoke. We've done more than Stoke in the last 10, 15 years. Yeah, let's not copy that blueprint.
The only one that's a bit left field in the top 10, really, I quite like the sound of it, is Scott Parker. Weirdly, because isn't he managing somewhere abroad? Somewhere in is he in Saudi? Google is my friend.
Something like that appeals. Like I know the Wayne Rooney thing with Birmingham went south, and at one point I was thinking Wayne Rooney might be a decent appointment for us. Not because I thought he was a good coach himself, but American market. We want a Netflix documentary to help commercials. Yeah. That kind of big star coming in as a coach helps a lot of things. Is there anyone else available like that we can be looking at? Is that the kind of thing we're going at? I just feel a safe Championship manager that's been around the bush a little bit shouldn't be the way we go. And again, if I haven't mentioned it, I've been banging on my four at back. So maybe this is my next one. Maybe this is where I'm going from now on. It's just it'll either be abroad or somebody who's maybe a little bit unproven but comes with quite a big reputation that can help attract and make Huddersfield Town look a little more attractive outside of the club. Not that that's the best way to go. Not that as a Town fan, that's what I think we should do. But I just wonder if that's what they'll look at.
I mean, Neil Warner with 9
puts Rooney on the list then?
Sorry, guys.
Do you think that puts Rooney on the list then?
Nah, because he's terrible. I think he's absolutely horrendous after his Birmingham. He's not far off Troy Deeney level of delusion, is he? So I don't think that's going to be the go. I hope not. If in three weeks we come back and he is, I just don't think he's got the track record at Birmingham under American owners. It didn't go very well.
Derby, and the feedback is that when he was at Derby, it was all what's his name that's at Hull.
Yeah,
it was his assistant, and it was him. It wasn't Rooney. It was him.
And that's kind of bearing out with how well Hull are doing at the moment, isn't it? But Frank Lewis at Lampard's on there. He's on there as well. We've got
that'd fit for me. That kind of thing would fit. You're thinking of the American market again. It's not what you want to look at as football fans, but it's got a bit of value.
Alex Neil, Michael Duff,
connection. Alex Neil, the Stoke connection.
Yeah, Alex Neil. That could be one. John Moschino, Portsmouth. I don't understand that. I don't understand why I want to come here, to be honest. I'm struggling. I'm struggling to think who I would want as a fan, in all honesty. People on about Steve Cooper. No chance.
No chance.
You might as well say Mourinho. He ain't got a job. We might as well go for him than Cooper with just as much chance.
I honestly think everything seems to be around that we want to build a culture. We want our academy back in. We want to play a B team style of football again. I think you're going to go with a first team coach that has a real strong identity of how he plays football, because Darren Moore didn't have it, did he? Apart from it being defensive, other than 9 at the back. But I think we're going to go with somebody who's got a very specific style of football. I think that's going to be really important when it comes to the next appointment. And again, I don't see anybody on the list at the moment that kind of suggests that's what they'd bring to us. And to me, I don't think his name's on there just yet. I don't think they know, unless it's Heckingbottom again. I think that's just a little bit different because of how successful he's been. He lives in Sheffield. It makes quite a lot of sense. Plus the rumours that he might have spoken to people previously. Obviously, the only rumours, not confirming nor denying any of that. But I think that aside, I feel like we'll go out of the box a little bit, because But we will be attractive. The thing is, the club has spent money, so we will look attractive to people. Okay, we've gone through is it 6 coaches in 18 months? Is that where we're at?
This will be our 5th in 2 seasons, will it?
Yeah, 6 in 18 months. This will be our 6th in 18 months.
Yeah.
Well, it is a lot, but then when you've gone out and spent a few million, again, there's not that many jobs available, so there'll always be people. Like, there's always idiots willing to buy a football club. There's always idiots ready to come and coach one. So there will be better names than you expect available. It's just who Nagel and Jake Edwards, I guess, and Cartwright want to go with.
If you give him enough money, anybody will come, won't they? I said it before. If you pay him enough, people will come. And, maybe that's why he's holding off on the old transfers, because he knows he's going to have to pay out a decent lump to get this bloke in. But I don't know.
Which is clever, though. Nick, I'll jump in. It is clever that if instead of bringing one extra defender in, you're going to go out and pay a big like we must have done to Warnock last year. He can't have been cheap, and we offered him enough to stay on, and Warnock doesn't really stay on much anymore either, does it? So we were willing to last year, it seems, go out and get the right guy to ensure championship survival. And I hope that we do make that decision, because I always find it very strange that championship coach or football coaches in general get paid a lot less than the players when they're the guys that have the most important job in the entire football club, but they're not the guys that get paid the most. There'll be people available if Town are willing to pay, and hopefully, like you say, if it means we have one less fullback, then so be it. It's more important to get the right man in now. And if it does take a bit of compensation or whatnot, at least we might have that manoeuvrability if we are keeping ourselves to ourselves when it comes to squad size and what we've got.
Ponty Terrier says Jukanovic plays good football, knows the league. I don't know where he is now. I don't know what he's doing in it. Jukanovic, I haven't heard about him for ages.
I'll Google him. All I can tell you about Scott Parker, by the way, is I didn't realise he's Harry Arthur's brother-in-law. Did you know that?
Is he? No, I didn't know that.
So,
but then didn't he wanted loads of money for Bournemouth because he said I couldn't take him up, and then someone else came in and took him straight up. That is a bit of a red flag for me. And it were already like a squad that costs an absolute fortune. And that's my only reservation with Heckingbottom, that Sheffield United have a much better squad than us. Now, I'm not saying, we should be thinking about going up or anything like that, but there is quite a stark contrast.
Any successful manager we bring in, you'll think, oh yeah, but they had a better squad than us. That's why they're successful. So that's always going to be a who you bring in.
I guess it's sort of how much of the track record of, but then I guess he did well at Barnsley, didn't he, as well?
Yeah.
I guess so. Chris Hughton's name always comes up, doesn't it, towards bottom of the list? It's always the same ones that come up every time, isn't it? Neil Lennon, Lee Carsley always gets mentioned on Down at the Mat, never amounts to anything. It's always the same names. I think Heckingbottom for me would be the most likely option, given where that he's local.
Would you be happy with that though, Nick? Is that what you're looking for?
Don't get the boxer shorts twitching, does it? It's all right. Do you know what I mean? It's not an exciting.
Not much does these days. When you get to my age, Nick, not much gets you going.
No, I won't. But then I won't say any. And it's not a slight on him. He's done really good things at Sheffield United, but I'm we've been burnt so many times by promising this great football and we're going to do this and that, and it never amounting to anything. I struggle to get excited about most managers, to be honest. It makes sense. It's a logical appointment. But then, to be honest, I thought that about Moore with his track record. I wasn't, too down on him coming in, although people thought it was boring. I think most fans were kind of accepting of him coming in because of his record with other clubs, and obviously that's not worked out. So for me, I'd be like sort of 6, 7 out of 10 on the excitement scale. I mean, who would be your choice?
I wouldn't be. Heckingbottom ticks lots of boxes, like you say, and he's local, which is another big tick. He has there's a thing about him, isn't there, that I think after he finished playing and before he went coaching, he actually went to uni. So he's got a football management degree and he's got a sports science degree. So actually, in fairness to him, that does set him apart from some of the other managers that are out there, which is I finished playing, I was a really good captain, so I became a manager. The guy's obviously done some work. He invested in himself and the way he operates. So, I like stuff like that. So that's a bit of a positive. I think Mousinho's doing a fantastic job at Portsmouth. I just can't. Why can't. Why would he bin them off to come here? And he's never played in the north either. He's a southerner. He's always played when he was a footballer. It was at Brentford and Wickham, and he played at that sort down south. So I can't see it. I worry about him. I worry we end up with a bit of a journeyman. Alex Neil, no thanks. Eustace, I don't really know much about him. He had a bit of a time. Was he at Cambridge or somewhere before he went to Birmingham? But he's
sure.
It's really difficult. If he's second bottom, at least it feels like a bit of a safe pair of hands. But if you're going to gamble, I'm with Ian, then perhaps you just go all the way. And you bring somebody in that's not even on the betting ranks at the minute that you do. And maybe that's why they put Worthy in charge, that they've got somebody in the pipeline. Maybe it's the bloke at Sacramento Rangers or whatever they're called.
I think it's even worse than bringing another Stokey in, isn't it? I'm like I say, I just want someone from abroad. If it's not Heckingbottom, nothing else in the UK appeals to me. So I'd rather go with someone who's got a bit of success abroad. Look how well Big Angie's doing. Big Ange Postecoglou at Spurs. There are coaches around.
He could have been here, couldn't he? Because we chose the Cowleys instead, didn't we? He were going to come, and we changed his mind.
That's true as John Terry was coming.
No, I emailed just.
I emailed the club.
It's not about me. Oh, I told you, Aaron Moy. 2 days before we signed him, I emailed the club saying Aaron Moy just joined Man City and he's got on loan because I know his uncle, right? I'm like, yeah, he's just gone out on loan. We signed him 2 days later. No one ever, and I didn't hear anything back. All right, whatever. When we sat before the Cowleys, it might have been after the Cowleys. Can't remember if it was before the Cowleys. Andrew played. He were over at Yokohama in Japan, and I'd seen him at Brisbane Raw. Unbelievable. Won 2 championships in Australia in a row. Then went to Melbourne, did everything there, and his football's possession based, quite Wagner football, but just never gave up. And last 5-10 minutes of games, all his teams score goals. And where have we seen that before? They'd wear teams down, holding the ball. And we're fantastic. I mean, club about that. Obviously, we never went that direction. They should have listened that time, but we didn't. But what I mean is, there's still people available elsewhere where you can go out and they've got winning records and just characters, just somebody who can lift the players and lift the fans. Because I think with Town, if you get the fans behind you, it's like having an extra man on the field. You can play 5 at the back still because you've still got your extra man in midfield if we're there, if we're supporting them through. Cowshed, when that gets pumping, it makes a big difference. It does. It makes a huge difference. Home advantage in football is massive. And it feels to have slipped a little bit recently because it's just not there. The groans are there. It's not really feels like home games make much of a difference anymore, but it can. But it only can with Huddersfield if your coach is kind of at it as well. So if we just home, abroad, whatever, just a strong character that really can lead, just not quite like Fotheringham because he were a character in the wrong way and it were a proper bell end.
It were good theatre, but it were a car crash, wasn't it?
But again, he looked like he cared. And I still don't feel like people hated him as much as it is like Darren Moore. I don't think they want as vitriolic as it is for Darren Moore. Yet Darren Moore is a much more likable guy, but again, he's just not quite as strong as Fotheringham seem to appear. Yeah. But as long as we get somebody strong who can really, really take the club, because it feels a bit rudderless again, doesn't it? Like, I know Nagel's in charge, and when he's here, it's great for those 3-4 weeks. But when he's not here, it just feels a bit, we're missing our leader. I know it sounds, I'm a 35-year-old man asking for a leader at a football club. I know it sounds strange, but I think it is really important to us and to our club that we have somebody leading from the front. And when Nagel's not here, there's no one that seems to step up. I think the Town coach can do it if we get the right guy in, and I think that'll make a massive difference, not only to this season, but going forward.
They like data, though, Ian, don't they? That's the problem. That almost feels like a second thing, which interestingly, by the way, just because while you were talking, I've just Googled Heckingbottom. In Sheffield United, between November 21 and December 23, 98 games in charge, 50% win ratio.
Is that allowed?
If you're looking at coaching your last job, how did you get on? You're going to struggle to find somebody with a higher than 50% win ratio in the Championship and Premier League, aren't you?
It's all right looking at stats, but you've got to also deploy a bit of common sense as well, because it's not played with stats, is it? It's the things that you can't measure that are the most important, I find. And we've seen that bear out with Darren Moore, because his stats were great till he came here, but he didn't have the qualities that aligned with the Town fans, and it just didn't work. And I think you need a bit of a character, a bit of a nut job in there, to be honest. I think someone that the fans will warm to, that's maybe a bit eccentric even in ways, but that also has a bit of experience and commands a bit of respect. But you get someone like Gattuso in, just absolute nut job that nuts the referee because he's given opposition a free kick, someone like that. But I don't know, guys. I don't know. I think more than likely it'll be someone like Heckingbottom. It's not the worst appointment in the world, but I don't know. It's a tough job. Not many games, really. Not many winnable games, should I say. Got to hit the ground running pretty much straight away. So we've talked a lot, guys. Is there anything else to talk about? I think we're going to wrap this up soon because we've gone through it all. When do you think this guy's going to come in? It's obviously not going to be before. I mean, surely it's got to be after the Sheffield. But we can't prat about for 2 or 3 weeks, surely, on this, can we?
Well, I guess the other thing is that once the Wednesday's game is gone, you've got another week because it's Southampton away. So no matter you could put Klopp in charge, and we're not going to win that game anyway, are you? So maybe they're thinking, well, we'll give him a bit of breathing space. No doubt there'll be a few people in the crowd at the Wednesday game, so that should make it quite interesting. Shouldn't there be a few sat in the crowd?
Yeah, you'd be surprised. I honestly think we'll appoint somebody before the Wednesday game. I just don't think they'll take the Wednesday game. I think they'll be sat there, and if we aren't, I think getting rid of Darren Moore is even more mental at this point. If we don't have somebody in before Wednesday, I'll be very surprised. I just think the way the club's communicating, they must know who's coming in, or it must be down to a final couple and they'll be getting it done quickly because we are at the critical point of the season. Games are running out. We're getting into more and more trouble if the longer we wait here. I would be very surprised if we don't have somebody in by Thursday, Friday before the Wednesday game, just because these guys run a very tight PR ship when it comes to town. They've done things pretty professionally when it comes to communication and stuff. And I feel like not bringing one in would be a bit silly. I just feel like they'll know what they're doing. They'll get somebody in early, but they just won't take the team for the weekend and Worthington will take it, which I think's, again, like we've spoken about, it's a bit reckless because our season's going to be, I think, defined by the weekend. You win 6 points away from the relegation zone, like you say. QPR have got easier games coming up. If we lose that game, Sheffield Wednesday are 3 points closer to us. We're in the shit. It becomes a very different season from Saturday onwards if it doesn't go our way. And we're going into it likely with Johnny Worthington taking a team. And I just feel like we're quite lucky in that it looks like we've got quite a lot of leaders on the pitch. We're still playing. We're still playing for the club. And Pearson's to come back in. I think I'd have Pearson in over Bolker for the weekend. I think Bolker, like I say, we were a little bit soft on Saturday, and I'd just go for the extra. I'd stick with about 4, but I think you need some extra, as many leaders on the pitch on Saturday if you don't have a coach on the sideline. And hopefully we can kind of get through it ourselves because there's enough there. There is enough there to dig out a win if we have a decent go at it. But I'd be very surprised if we don't have somebody by the weekend. Everything has seemed very planned out. Even when Warnock got he didn't get sacked, did he really? But when Warnock was replaced, it was a Norwich game happened, tweet happened, and then there was a bit of time, and you could see things going in place in the background, and then Warnock left, and then Moore came. Like you could see it happening. It was very methodical. And now last week, Nagel said, "If we don't win, you're gone." Well, he didn't say that. He said, "If you don't win, I don't want to be sat here next week."
Yeah,
having not won, and we didn't win, and now Moore's not here. So again, that was quite a methodical thing. There's no way they've not been prepping just in case that happened. I'm pretty sure they'll be ready to go with whatever direction they want to go in now. I think it'll be happening in the next couple of days.
I do hope so. And like you say, Killer, as well, season tickets are not too far on the horizon, are they? So I thought we need something to get the fans excited and on side. And who knows if we're going to stay in this league or not. And that's something else the manager's going to have to consider. Stephen says I need to change my background because of that elf ears. It's the light shining on the back of my headrest. I only just noticed that. I'm going to sit like this now for the rest of it. Thanks, mate.
Is that a new chair? You've been out and bought a new chair now on YouTube?
I've gone all out, mate. I've gone all out because I'm almost crippled. I sit in this chair doing my job. A little insight into how my life is at the moment. I sit in this chair for 8 hours a day. So I need it nice and comfy, a nice little. I got treat myself to a little headrest. There you go. It's for little things.
Never mind that. You're looking hench, man. Yeah. You look like you've been in gym.
Oh yeah, well,
you've been in the zone, man.
It's because I wear clothes that are 2 sizes too small. Do you know what I mean? Just to emphasise myself.
Yeah, so do I, but it's because I keep wearing my clothes from 1985 that I refuse to throw away.
I've always been hench. What you on about? Of course, I'm at the gym every day, mate. Every day, you know.
Yeah.
Is that what working for yourself managers? Is that what happens, Nick? Is that where you've got to in your career now?
I've just got a meeting. I'll be back in a couple of hours and then just go off. Yeah, it's all good. Dean Ball says, enjoyed that. Thanks, guys. Thanks for listening, mate. Thanks for listening. It's always a pleasure. I think we'll end it, guys. Just to sort of, I think to sum up, we'll just maybe get our predictions for the Sheffield Wednesday game, shall we? Because it is a big game. I mean, not easy given the circumstances. I'm going to start by being optimistic and say we'll lose 2-0 because I can't see any other way we were being in the size, and it's not. Look, I'm not being really derogative to him, but it's such a big ask to in such a short space of time to get hold of that squad and produce a performance against a rival who will be well up for it, knowing the situation, who have actually picked up form. I think it's a real banana skin this now, and I do worry about the atmosphere in that ground. If I think it could go sour quite quickly. What do you reckon?
I'm going to go 1-1 draw. You'd be surprised to learn. I think.
No.
No, honestly, yeah, I think they'll Wednesday are playing quite direct, which sometimes we did all right with it on Saturday against that big lad that played for QPR. They'll play. They've got Ashley Fletcher and they've got that other bloke who's about 9 foot tall. I think they'll come. I think they'll give us a game. I think they'll be up for it. They'll see it as a game they can win. And they've had a couple of tubbings off Coventry recently, so I think they're ready for and all the controversy attached to it, of course. I think they'll be ready to just take 3 points. I think it's going to be a really tough game. I do, honestly, but I just think I think we'll sneak a draw.
Both teams need to win. Both teams will want to go at this game. Both teams will want 3 points, and I think that'll help us. I think my prediction is going to be on if Helik's fit to play. I don't think he will be because I think that tackle were absolutely horrific. I know it wasn't. You can't say his studs were up. I know it's late to go back into the QPR game here, but I will do for a second. It was a late tackle. He didn't have to do it, but he had a free shot at Helik and he took it. He didn't need to go in, but he went in to hurt him and hurt him. He did. I thought it were awful, and just unprofessional. Like he didn't need to do it. He did not need to go in at Helik there. Helik hadn't been doing anything to him all game, but he had a little quick chance because Helik were trying to shield ball out and he had a quick go at him. And if Helik's out for an extended period, I think our prospects of staying in the division drop massively. If he's fit, I'd be dropping Bojan. I'd be bringing Karoma back in and I'd go 4-2-3-1. Pretty much the same formation, but Karoma in for Bojan. Swap Thomas and Karoma on the wing, so you got two in cutters rather than outside and crossing. And I think if we went like that, I think but I predicted 3-1 against QPR, but although it did end up a 1-1 draw, I think we created more than enough chances to win that game. I think that game should have been a pretty routine win. It wasn't. I accept that, but I think going into Sheffield Wednesday, even without Darren Moore, if we go with something similar, and Healy is the 9, I think we'll create enough chances to cause Sheffield Wednesday and any team in this division problems. Because Sorba Thomas is a problem for teams to defend against. Nobody likes it. He's a pest. I think we'll be okay. I think we'll be okay, especially if new managers in the stands. They'll be playing to impress him. It's time we won one. It's time we won one. 2-0 win time.
It certainly is time we won one. I can't remember what it feels like to win, but let's see, lads. Let's hope so anyway. Guys, thank you so much for listening. Thank you for your comments. And yeah, hopefully next time we see you, we'll have 3 points and a new manager. Take care, everybody. See you soon. Ta-ra for now.